My name is Henry, one of the founder of Flowise. So a little bit background of myself, as you can see from slide over here. So I was a software engineer in a company called Fidelity Investment. A lot of people have been asking like, why Fidelity? It is like a finance brokerage firm. So mainly I was working with our own internal automation tools and combined with our own pre-trained large language models. So it was even before ChatGPT. We have to label our own data sets, train our own models and things like that. So been working there for a few years and also got a computer science and major in artificial intelligence from the University of York. So that's kind of like my little background over there, not too fancy, not coming from Harvard or MIT, things like that. So a little bit story about Flowwise. So as I mentioned, right, I was working in Fidelity Investments, and at that time we were trying to, find ways. I mean, obviously, after you have ChatGPT, people are trying to find ways to make something work that wasn't possible before, right? So you have ChatGPT, and then people are trying to use libraries like LangChain, Llama Index, Haystack, trying to figure out the problems that could not be solved before this ChatGPT era. And I was part of the developers on the team and seeing firsthand how all of these frameworks will be able to help you to speed up the development time. And also, like, I'm so intrigued by the frameworks and all the development progress. I decided to kind of like build Flowwise because one key things that about building large language models is like the one that I mentioned. It takes so many iterations for you to figure out the perfect combinations that works for your own use case, right? So you kind of have to figure out your correct chunking strategies, the right vector store to use, your configurations, the prompts, and the models as well. So Flowwise is designed to do that without having you to, the code the whole thing over and over again. So why don't I jump to the applications of Flowwise so that you guys can get an idea to see, okay, what is Flowwise and how does it work? Let me just track it down here. All right, so this is Flowwise. As you can see, if I click into one of these components here, you can see like here is like the little Lego blocks that allows you to kind of connect from one block to another block. And the idea is to have you kind of like build your own Lego, which is like your own custom AI solutions that fits your own use. And for you to do that, we have like many different templates that actually give you an idea and how you can do stuff. So as you can see, like the first one is called Flowwise Documents Question Answering. So if you put into that one, and so a rough idea is that it actually ingests a document from a GitHubs, and then it will be able to convert them into a vector embeddings using an embeddings models, of course. And after that, it will be sent to a conversational retrieval QA chain, which will then be used by a chat model, in this case, ChatGPT, to be able to return the answers back to you. So I'll show that how all of things work in a second. But for now, I'm just trying to show you guys how, there are many different templates that you can do many different stuff. So for example, this kind of agents is designed for you to ask questions on your CSV data, which means your spreadsheet, your Excel sheet. So you can simply just upload the file, and then you'll be able to ask questions. So things like, what is the opening of your stock market today? What is the highest tradings today? So different things like that. So without further ado, I will jump into a real quick demo to show you how it works. Okay, so this is a very simple, what we call like a chat flow. And the idea is to have a memory, which will be able to hold a conversation for between you and the AI. And then you have this model, which is obviously, ChatGPT. And finally, you have the conversation chain. So this chain is built on top of LangChain, and under the hood, the prompt is designed for you to have normal conversations with your AI. So if I click the use template, and then the next thing I do is just put in my credentials. So if you want, you can also like create a new one. So these are the ones that I've created. I click create new. So you just put in your credential name and then your API key. And that's it. But you also have the options to select different parameters. So you can see the max token, the top probability, frequency penalty, timeout, your base path, etc. Right. So I'll choose. So you have the options to use different models as well. I'll choose the 16K one, and that's it really. So you just save the flow, save 1.3. So the next thing that you can do is you can straight away just chat with your your AI, right? So this is a very simple example, right? And right now, let's take it into the next step. Like, how do you build a rack stack which involve database, vector database like Milvus? So to do that, we actually have a template to do that. If you want, you can use that. But for the webinars, I will be creating it from scratch so that people will like understand what. So yeah, feel free to stop me if you have any questions or anything to ask. Right. So when we open up, we can straight away click Add New. Here, you will be brought up to a new canvas, and then when you click the plus icon here, you have many different integrations that you can select. So you can use agents, you can use embeddings models, and different things. So for now, I'm trying to build a rack stack, right? So a rack stack, obviously, it involves ingesting your document sources and then convert into the embeddings and upsert to Milvus. So first, I will be looking at these document loaders. And you have many different options that you can pull your data from. So things like you can load it from an API, or you can pull it from an Airtable. You can even scrap a website, pull from Confluence page, your document files, etc., etc. In this demo, I'm going to show you how you can like scrap a website and then build a rack stack from it. So I'll be using a Chiro Web Scraper. And in this demo, I'll be scraping my own website, which is FlowiseAI. So it doesn't have too much of information there. Very basic one page applications. So I'll just put in my URL over here. But if you click additional parameters, you have different options to better enhance your scraping functionalities. But for the sake of the demo, I'll just keep it simple. So now we have the scraper ready. And now obviously you need to chunk your data into different pieces, right? Because we are working with a limited context size of the LLMs. So we have to split the data into different chunks. So for that, I'll be using text splitters. And here you have also many different options to use. So for the website, it is recommended to use HTML to Markdown text splitter. So this is designed specifically to convert your HTML page to a Markdown, which then split up by different separators. So if you look at the website, right, you have many HTML code, you have many CSS code, but those not providing real information to your LLMs. So what we want to do is we want to get the actual wordings of the website. So things like build apps easily. So when people ask what is Flowwise, you will be able to get this piece of text and answer the questions back to you, right? So when people ask like, how do you get started or how do you install Flowwise? So you will be able to get the information from here and return it to you. So that's why we have to use this kind of splitter to get rid of all the different HTML and CSS code. So for that, I will be connecting to my web scraper. So now that we have these two ready, and obviously the next thing that we have to do is we need to convert the different chunks into your vector embeddings. And then obviously after you can upsert to Milvus. So for that, I'll be using various OpenAI embeddings models. So here, but also you have the different options that you can use. You can use Hugging Face, Azure, Cohere, Google, etc. The local AI, which is like your open source embeddings as well. So after I've got embeddings, and I need to have my vector stores, right? So in this case, we'll be using Milvus. So just put in your upsert documents. So if you notice over the vector stores integrations, we have Milvus, upsert, and load existing collections, right? So here in this case, we want to upsert your vector embeddings to Milvus. So obviously we'll be using this one. And I will show you how you can use the other one in another example. But in this case, we'll be using this one. So we're connecting to embeddings, and then obviously connect your credentials, and then connect your documents. So as you can see, like it takes two inputs, documents, which is from the contents into different chunks, put into your input over here, and then combine with the embeddings models, it will convert the different chunks into different vector embeddings. So you will see like how does it look under the dashboard later on. So here we have to connect our credentials. You can create new credentials as well, just specify username and password. And then for the server URL, so right now I have a project set up already on Milvus, right? So I just need to grab my link, which is the public endpoint. So just copy this one. Remember, we have to put in the HTTPS. Let me launch it. Copy paste your link here. And also remember to copy the port over here. So you will need to append the port to the end of the URL. So now this is all of it that you need. And then we need to specify the new collection name that you want to upsert to. So I'll say Milvus demo in this case. So now that we have got the Milvus node set up correctly, so there's two final things that we need to do, right? So here you have many different chains. So chains are the components that is built on top of LangChain, and under the hood, each of these chain is designed specifically to do different things. So in this case, we'll be using conversational retrieval QA chain, and under the hood, it is designed specifically to answer questions from your document sources. So there are like different chains that are designed to do different things, but feel free to look at our documentations or LangChain documentations to understand the different use cases. So in this case, I'll be using this one, conversational retrieval QA chain. And then as you can see, we need to take in three inputs. First is the language model. Second is the vector stores. And third one is the memory. This is optional, right? If this is not being connected, then a default buffer memory will be used. So the only two requires inputs are the one that have the asterisk over here, which is a language model and a vector stores, right? So we just need to, like Lego, connect this up to here. And lastly, the language model. I will be using the ChatGPT model. So just put in the ChatGPT node, connect your credentials. You can select any different models that you like. I always go for 16K because why not? You have like more context size as opposed to the one that have only 4,000 context size. So I connect together. So that's everything, right? So this is kind of like your simple rack stack that can get you off the ground and get you quickly tested and create prototypes, and then you can iterate from here. So let's save it. I will say Milvus upset, right? After I save it, right now I have a little chat over here, so I can start asking questions already. So remember that what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to scrape, Flowwise website and then upload the informations to Milvus so that I can do, basic question answering on the Flowwise website. So let me ask what is Flowwise, right? Before I do that, as you can see, like here, my collections, I only have book. And then in here, I specify a new collection, which is called a Milvus demo. If everything works, so you will see a new collections over here. So let's ask what is Flowwise. Okay, there's some errors. Okay, let me try to clean this up and then use a, this is a kind of large error. Let me try to specify like the 4,000 chunk size and then try to check if everything's configured correctly. ChatGPT, let me try to switch to Turbo 3.5 and the embeddings. This seems to be correct. And double check if my server URL is correct. So I'll be deleting this instance later on, so that's prevent any hackers. Looks correct. Okay. Okay, everything seems correct. Let me save it. Try to refresh again. Oh, finger crossed, everything works. What is Flowise? Okay. Something is probably not working. Let me see. Okay, let's kind of change the strategy a little bit. Not sure why it is not working. It was like working in a few seconds before. Okay, my render instance is down, so I had actually deployed my own Flowwise instance over here. Just need to restart my service. So of course you can also look at the Flowwise documentations to have a look at different deployment options that we have when you want to deploy Flowwise. So we have providing different deployments. So in this case, I was using render. So now that it is ready, okay. Let's try this one. This is the one that I just created. Instead of scraping the website, here I was uploading a file, like a text1 file. And if you look at the text1 file, nurse, it is just like a piece of text with some informations, not too fancy. And then I was using a text editor. It's kind of the same idea, right? So I was just using different document sources, and that's it. If I save it, so everything still looks the same. You have the ChatGPT models, you have the Milvus, upset node, you have the OpenAI embeddings. So if I click, who are the co-founder of Flowise? So what it will try to do here is we'll go through the whole flow and it will chunk into different pieces and then upset to Milvus. And then finally, you'll be able to use ChatGPT to return the answer. As you can see, it is working. So you can also see where is the source document that is retrieving the answers from, right? And if you look at the Milvus, so if I refresh, I should be able to see a new collections over here, which is called Milvus 1230, which I have specified over here. And if you look at the data preview, here you can see the text that I've just upserted. And these are the vector embeddings that was converted by the OpenAI embeddings models. So here is your kind of like the simple, very simple rack stack, and you have. So if you want to use it for your own applications, so we provide many different ways for you to do so. You can, use to call it as an API, and you also have the different configurations that you can specify. So all of these different informations. So
hey,
that's
Henry?
kind of like the basic idea. Yeah.
Hey, Henry. So Alex was wondering if maybe you had HTTPS in as for the Milvus endpoint for the first demo. Maybe it should be HTTP. Maybe that's what the error was.
Oh, I think I'm not sure what was the error, but as you can see, like in this case, I was also using HTTPS.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you right now because there's actually a couple questions. Let's see. So
Yeah.
Jefferson just asked,
Sure.
is the data stored encrypted by default in this RAG example?
Data source as in like all these different credentials, they are encrypted by default in Flowise. So when you spin up your Flowise instance, you will be able to specify your own encryption key, or if not, we will create a random encryption key. They'll be able to encrypt all of the credentials that you have created within the Flowise.
So that's the credentials, and
the
same
question.
And the same for all the data that's stored for the RAG application?
Exactly. So like in Flowise, we don't hold any informations because it is like self-deployable. So all of these documents that you have uploaded will be all encrypted using the same encryption key. So you can specify where to store it, but it is in our roadmap to allow you to store it into more secure locations like secure vaults from different providers. But for now, it'll be just stored inside your database, but encrypted, yes.
Okay. I have one more question, then we'll keep going with the demo. So Deepank Carves asks, what's the typical response time for the RAG model?
So it kind of depends on how is your configurations, but averagely, I would say it is pretty quick because as you can see, like if I just ask who are the co-founder of Flowwise, it will be able to return the answer back to me, right? I would say like 3 to 5 average. It depends on like what is your document sources, because obviously if you have like more complicated document sources, so it might take a little bit longer time because it has to kind of like the process out of this different irrelevant informations and try to get the most relevant informations and then feed back to your applications, right? But yeah, average, I would say 3 to 5 seconds, but again, depending on your document sources.
That makes sense.
What I'd like to say is that the RAG stack that you're seeing here, when you ask the question the first time, it will go through the process of upsetting, the vector embeddings. But when you ask the question like the second time, so let's say, what is the response of Flowise? So when you ask the question second time, it will not go through the process of upsetting the whole thing again, because why? It has already been upsetted, right? And we store the hash of the whole diagram so that it don't actually go and try to upset again and again, right? So as you can see, like the second questions, the answers returns very quickly, right? So it is only the first questions when it asks, it will go through the whole loop of upsetting the vector embeddings and stuff. So
what types of agents are available? Can you support custom agents?
Custom agents not possible at the moment, but we have a lot of demands for that. We are actually working on allowing you to create your own custom agent and chain in the next release. But right now, these are the pre-built agents for you. Yeah.
Okay. So we can check in
But you'll
the
be able
UI.
to create your own custom too.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so I actually have a question. So I think, I mean, I know, looking at it, I think I know the answer, but when you're talking about the embedders, it's just, you're just using an API, right? To reach out to, you're not actually hosting it.
No.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so like if you want to host your own embeddings, you can also do so. You can use the local AI embeddings. So this allows you to specify your own hosted embeddings models. But obviously you have to spin up your own Docker instance of a local AI to host, your embeddings models there. But for the demo, we are just using the OpenAI API.
So let's just kind of stay on that area a little bit, because Vitaly asked the question, can you customize the chunk sizes? I thought I saw something of that you can customize that. Yeah, there it is. Cool.
So let me customize, yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question, Vitaly. And then Bruno asked a really great question. How about evaluation?
Yeah, good question, good questions. So let me go back to the flow that was working. So this one, right? And here you can see like the analyze chat flow. So here you have the different options to use different providers. So a lot of people know Langsmith. I mean, a product by LangChain that allows you to, kind of see your different stacks. And then you have the option to use Langfuse and monitors. So why not we try to go through how does it work if you want to analyze chat flow, right? So if you just click create new credentials, obviously you need to get an API from a Langsmith. Not sure, have you guys seen Langsmith before, but this is Langsmith. Hopefully my internet works. It's slow, so. But the idea is that you choose. Oh, sorry. My line was unstable. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me now. So just specify your Langsmith credentials, and then you can specify a project name. So let's say Milvus demo. You click on, save it, and now if you try to ask a question again, like how to install Flowwise, you will be able to see the full trace, the step-by-step of the whole rack stack. So if you go to project, so you can see here's the new project that I've created, Milvus demo. And then if you click into composition configuration chain, and then you can see like, the step-by-step, process that is, flowing through from the start to the end. So here's one way that you can kind of like analyze your flow and then evaluate, see which one is working better. And also we have a environment variables, which is called you can turn on use to see the stack trace of your Flowise instance. So let's say if I deploy to a render, as you can see, like here, I can see all of my different steps that was giving the final answers to my Flowise applications. You just need to turn on the debug to true. So yeah, so there are different ways that you can evaluate your Flowise flow. So it kind of depends on which one that you want to go for.
So maybe just to make sure that everyone is up to speed on that. So what is evaluation, and what were you actually doing there? Why did you need to actually take a look at what was actually flowing through?
Yeah, so like a lot of people when I ask a question, right? So sometimes when I ask questions, the answers that return to you might be something that is not correct, right? Might be something that is off the rail, completely off the rail, and you want to know why is that, right? You want to know like what has been executing under the hood. So that's why you need traces, for example, like this kind of logs, to see what are the informations that have been fed into your LLMs and what are the documents that have been retrieved from the Milvus for that kind of question answering, right? So this is why we needed evaluations to kind of see and compare the different performance and really to know like how, and why. So these are here to answer your why and how queries. So as you can see, like when I ask how to install Flowise, and then here are the source documents. So it is actually using this piece of the information to return this text to you. Flowise can be installed by visiting our website and following the instructions provided, blah, 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 right? So you want to know like which piece of the information is being retrieved to construct the final response back to you.
Yeah, without this, you're kind of running blind, right? You don't know for certain what it's retrieving, and what's actually going on.
Exactly. That's the whole idea of you have the stack trace, and then you have like different like the one that I showed it to you, and like Shuffle, you have different observability platform that allows you to see step by step.
So what about adding citations in the chat responses? So then even your user can also kind of have confidence, right, that this is actually a legitimate response. Can you show a demo of that?
One of the way is that what you mean here? So return source documents, and then you can kind of see like where is these documents being retrieved from. So we do actually have that already, but it is limited to only a few chains or agents. So here you can see like here, okay, the answers is actually retrieved from this particular content, right? And well, they are the same. So
yeah, because in this particular example, you were just showing pulling from a text file, but if it was it was the other example pulling from your website, it would actually list the page that it pulled it from, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to let me try to get this working again. We can easily duplicate the flow, and then I replace it again with the scrape note, Chiro's web scraper. Stick using this one. Documents. So put in a link over here and save on tree. So I'll stick to the same endpoint and the same collection name. Okay, let's see if everything works. Type is not provided. Okay. let's try to use a different. I think everything's kind of same. I think we may be running into the same problem again. Okay, maybe there's a bug somewhere. Again, we need to go back and fix that. So yeah,
It's the demo gods.
unfortunately,
Don't worry, the demo gods are always cruel.
it was like literally working like I was just checking 3-4 times before the webinars is working, and then after when it goes right to the demo, it doesn't work.
So we have another question from Alex. So actually
Yeah.
two questions. So his first question is this AI chat only available from this particular web UI, or how can he make this available on a custom website or as a web service?
Yeah. So like we have this little button over here. When you click that, so you have different ways to use it. Yeah, so one way is to use it as embedded chat. So just copy paste this code and paste it to HTML page, and you have this little chatbot to applications. That's one way of using it. You can also have different configurations that you can specify, your colors, your size, your text, different stuff. So that's one way. Then you can also import into your React applications. So again, it's kind of the same concept with the the embedded chat. So you have the different configurations. The other way is to use the API. So as I was showing, you can use it with Python API, JavaScript, or simply just using a curl call. And the best part is that you have all the flexibilities of specifying all the different configurations within the flow. So all you needed to do here is specify, as you can see, like temperatures or the model names, your API key, you can even override in your API. So that's the other way to use it. And the final way is if you want to kind of like a very quick chatbot that you want to share it with people. So you can click, make it public. And then when you send the link over to anybody, people will be able to open, this whole chatbot, and they will be able to interact with the flow that you have created. So like, Flowise. So again, like the backend of this is actually executing all of this, right? So it's the same idea of asking a question over here. So yeah, again, like you have many different ways that you can use it.
Okay, so the next question Alex has is about how about scale? So can you handle 1,000 queries per second versus 100 on incoming requests?
Yeah, so to do that, again, so we have like this script over here, which is called Artillery. So Artillery is a famous load testing frameworks that allows you to test how many requests that you can handle using API. So after you have deployed your Flowise instance, just specify your instance and then specify your API call, and then you'll be able to test how many concurrent requests that you can handle per second. So we have done the testing. So for 10,000 requests per second, it is no problem. But again, like it kind of depends on the instance that you are using or that you are deploying. And also it kind of depends on the limitations of the API calls that you are making to your models, to embeddings, also to Milvus, right? So I would say like the limitations is not on the Flowise, but it's under the all the APIs that you are calling under the hood. The ChatGPT API, the Milvus API, embeddings API. So
what have you I think you and I talked a little bit about GPT cache, the semantic caching layer that we have as an open source project. Can users add that to this as well?
We actually have a story that is working on it. So per request, this is coming to next release. So we have the GPT cache, which is coming. yeah, so we are working on that.
Cool.
Soon people will be able to use Catch for your embeddings and also for your own chat models. So hopefully,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
it was.
So Alex, that should actually help also with performance. So at Milvus, we have another open source project called GPT Cache, and it was built out of a mistake. Basically, we were building a demo application called osschat.io, and yeah, here it is. And you know, of course, we got a really big bill for an OpenAI because we were in dev asking the same question. And then we ran into some performance issues with OpenAI. And so we decided to build a caching layer. And then we realized this is probably going to be a problem that everyone faces. So we actually open sourced it. And it actually works with a number of different vector stores, not just limited to Milvus and to Zillis. So I'm excited that you're going to be adding that, Henry. That's pretty cool. I want to go.
Yeah, we get a lot of us as well. So.
Yay, cool. You know, mistakes are very valuable sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I do want to go back to a question that Bruno has, because I actually have
Sure.
this as well. So he wants to go back to talking about agents and ask you to show how to specify tools. And I agree. If you can maybe go a little bit slower on the agent portion and kind of show us how you can select it and what are the configuration options. Cool, thanks.
Perfect. So in Flowwise, you have the options to create your own custom tool. So tool is tool that is designed for agents to use. So for example, like in marketplaces, we have different tools. So maybe add a contact to a HubSpot, create an Airtable record. So different tools. But under the hood, all of these tools is just, you can see like the JavaScript functions. It is just calling the API and that's it, right? So in this case, it's calling an API from Airtable to add a record to your Airtable database, right? You have like send Slack message, send Discord message, and different things. So you can kind of get the idea of how each of these two works by looking at the example that we have over here, and then you can iterate on your own. So one thing that I would like to highlight is here, the output schema. So maybe it is better for me to show the combinations of the flow combined with the tool itself. Let me find one. This agents. Okay. Okay. Maybe not this one. OpenAI conversation agent. Okay. I will try to get rid. Okay. While I'm here, it's good to show as well. So you can actually combine the chain, the chain that we have created just now for the Milvus question answering, and use it as a tool for your agent. So you just need to create a custom tool for that. But let me show you guys how tool works. So here we have two sections, and then you have some of the pre-built tools that allows you to do specific stuff. Things like, executing a custom Google search. Things like, browsing the web. Things like writing to a file, connecting to Zapier, different things. But I was showing how you can use a custom tool. So here we have a custom tool node, and you'll be able to select the tools. Obviously, I don't have any yet, but you can select any tools that you'd like to use, right? So here I have a Discord tool, and then I'll be able to kind of like a use template and then add it to my own tool sections. So here you have the tool, and what it is actually doing is just, if you look at the functions, it is just calling the webhook URL, and then with the message, which is the content from the output schema. So I'll talk a little bit about the output schema, right? So as you can see from the description, what should be the output response in the JSON format? So when you ask, so let's say if I were to use the two, connect to, maybe I have to kind of save it and then refresh so that you'll be able to load the two. Okay, message to Discord channel. So right now I have specified the two itself. And the problem is that I say hello, okay, and then I need to specify the OpenAI key. Hi, my name is Bob, right? So it'll be able to answer me. So right now, if I want to say, can you send a message to Discord, right? So right now it asks you to kind of like specify the message that you would like to send to Discord, right? So we actually want to capture the user's answers so that the message will then be sent to the Discord, right? But the problem is that how can we do that? So that's why in the two sections, we have the output schema. So this is designed to do that. This is designed to capture the informations from the users. So you can see the content. So let's say if I specify, please say hello. So you'll be able to actually capture this message called hello or whatever and pass it as the content. Then using the API, you will be able to send the actual message to your Discord.
So where did you set it up to actually send it to a particular channel?
So this is like the webhook URL. Okay. So yeah, so you just specify. I don't have a Discord app installed in this laptop, but when you go to Discord, you have the webhook URL. You just specify the webhook URL, and that's it. So here's your webhook URL, right? And this part is to actually capture the informations that's from the chat over here. So that's kind of like the idea of the custom tool. So if you can imagine, like you can basically use it to call any API, right? If you have an internet API and you want to use it with a combination of agents, and then with the ability to capture the informations from the users, that's how you can use custom tool to do that. So this is a kind of like a very simple basic example that show you how you can do this kind of stuff. So and again, like this is specific to OpenAI and function agents. We have different agents, Airtable agents, AutoGPT, Baby AGI, different agents from LangChain as well. Again, like I would say that most of these agents, if you want to know like how do they work and what is their use cases, you can actually just go to LangChain and then kind of look at the agent types, and here are some of the agents that we have put it on top. So conversation agents, exactly the same as the one over here. So yeah, it is designed to kind of like use the two, but also be able to hold the conversations between users and the AI. So.
I have another question for you. So Gil said, great demo. Is Flowwise open source?
Exactly, 100%. We will always be open source. Yeah. So you can just go to GitHub, and then you have the options to deploy your own Flowwise instance. Also, take a look at our documentations to see how we can deploy it to one of the cloud services that you like.
Cool. So we just have 5 minutes left, and want to leave the lines open for any final questions. But as you made it look so super easy, but is there any advice on places where, you know, people can get themselves into a little bit of trouble, and what they might want, what they should probably do to kind of avoid that?
Yeah, I think like again, yeah, I think the go back to the evaluation things, right? So this is why evaluations and observability platform exists, that allows you to kind of know what is being executed under the hood. So whenever you bump into any sort of problems, I always suggest people to use one of these ML chat flow to see what is being executed under the hood. If you don't want to do, you can also take a look at the stack trace and to understand what is being executed, step by step. So.
And then Mike asked, is the recording going to be available? Of course, Mike. Yes, absolutely. Recording. We'll put the recording on Zillows.com and also on our YouTube channel after we do a quick edit.
Perfect.
So I think I saw one typo on your website, and in the banner of your website, it should say, yeah, it should say Milvus and not Chroma.
This one.
But other than that, really great demo. And it looks great. It looks super easy to use. And hopefully everybody on this webinar can try it out for yourself. And also, it's like I said in the beginning, it is Hacktoberfest. I'm sure Henry's got a number of issues that he'd love to get everybody's help with. Same with Milvus. So if you can spare the bandwidth to help out, everyone in open source community would love that.
185 open, so feel free to take any one of them.
There's always plenty to do.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thanks everybody, all the really great questions. And yeah, we can't wait to see what you build with Flowwise and also with Milvus. All right. Thanks everybody.
Thanks again, Chris. Thanks everybody. Bye.